defending the free market, and making the moral case for capitalism. The Justin Moore Show.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Justin Moore Show, where we make sense of what's going on in this crazy, insane, out of control world. I am back. And in here we have, recent news. I mean, hell, there's a lot of crap that's gone on since I've last talked with you guys. John McCain, the senator from Arizona, he died. It's like the day before he died. There was an article, there was the news story that came out saying, okay, John McCain will stop all further treatments for his cancer, brain cancer. And the next day he just died. It's like, okay, well, I guess that was quick. But no, here's what blew my mind about the John McCain thing. I'm not going to say anything about John McCain, and I thought he was a piece of crap politician, and he did a lot of the wrong things, and he loved war, and so forth. But the most shocking thing, I'm looking at this article, and actually, let me back up a second. I remember during the campaign when John McCain was running in 2008, he always had his mom in the background. She was always there, and it's like, oh, see, because a lot of people worried, like, oh my gosh, John McCain, he's so old, if he gets in office, he will die in office. We can't have that. But then, some of the conservatives are saying, well, look, his 97-year-old mom, this shows that, look at John McCain, he's just fine. He ain't going to die in office. Well, the most shocking thing to me is I'm reading this article, and it's like, and it says, John McCain, he survived by his mom. What? He survived by his mom. His mom is 106. I almost fell out of my chair when I can't believe she's still alive. I mean, I always kind of wondered, I thought it would have hurt, I guess, if she would have died and, John McCain's mom, blah, 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 blah. So that really is shocking to me. Here's John McCain's mom. Looks like in the article, I don't know if that's from years ago or that's currently, she's standing up. Looks like she's still pretty good health. I mean, that's amazing, 106. So anyway, I do want to kind of make this a shorter episode right here because I have to head to work. And then after that, I plan on going to the Trump rally. Yes, I got tickets for that. And obviously, they're free. But yeah, Donald Trump, he's going to, actually I should say, President Donald Trump. He is going to be in Billings. And actually working at the airport, just the last day I worked, the C-17 came in. That's one of those giant-ass planes that they use for transporting, the presidential limos and all part of the motorcade. And I think they even have a vehicle with a turret mounted on top. I'm pretty damn sure they do. But an interesting story for you guys. So when Mike Pence came to Billings, this was about a month ago. That's a C-17 come in for that. You can actually just do a Google search if you want to see what I'm talking about, the type of planes they are. They're just huge, huge planes. They're almost as wide as they are long. Because, they're meant for carrying cargo and so forth. But when Pence came to town, the C-17 landed at the Billings airport. And, the stuff got unloaded. Pence did his thing like the next day or whatever. Okay, they load everything back up. They're ready to go. The engine catches fire. So this C-17 was stuck at the Billings airport for about a week. Actually, some of my coworkers actually got to see the fire when they started it up. I was not present for that, unfortunately, or else that would have been, or else that would have been pretty sweet. But so what they had to do, they flew in another C-17 a few days later. They transferred everything back onto that plane. Then they brought in some guys. They had to bring in an engine, and they got it fixed. And eventually, it flew away. And so working today, I will be at the airport when President Trump is planned to arrive, and no one's allowed on the ramp. And, there's all these procedures in place. They kind of have a window of when he'll be here, when he'll land. It's a few hour window. And basically when Trump's going to be landing at the airport, this certain window, no other planes from other airlines are allowed to land. They're trying to secure the airspace and so forth. So I guess hopefully that doesn't cause me to have some sort of delay, then I miss the rally. Because obviously you guys know this. I'm not some Trump supporter or anything, but the guy entertains the hell out of me. I like to see him. I went to his when Trump was running in the primary, he came to Billings. I went to his rally, and I just getting the feel from the crowd and watching Trump. I think it's a learning experience. It's the same reason that I travel too. how much you gain from traveling. So I think this is very beneficial just to go to, just to hear what he has to say and blab on about. Because, I was a fan of The Apprentice. I watched every damn episode of all The Apprentices, which, Donald Trump was the host of that. He's just a very entertaining guy. He's one of the most naturally funny guys out there. He really is. That's why he's just kind of a different sort of politician, which, not really a politician, but, well, he's president of the United States, so he's a politician, right? I mean, I guess you can't really use that line anymore. So what I want to talk about on today's episode, I want to talk about Argentina. I mean, I've done a lot of episodes talking about Venezuela, the hyperinflation there, and crap's only getting worse. Well, Argentina, no one's really talking about. And part of the reason I've been absent from this show, I've been busy with work, so forth. But after the last episode, I think it was the next day, I flew out. And I went to Buenos Aires, Argentina. It was kind of a last minute thing. I'm looking at flights, it's way open. I ended up getting the Polaris seats, which are like the lay down ones. Oh my gosh, those things are so nice. It's like an 11-hour flight. But Argentina is, I guess I don't want to just go and just tell you guys, story after story and so forth. Because I want to talk about what's going on with the economy over in Argentina and what's really not being talked about in the media really at all. So what's going on right now in Argentina? Actually, let me pull up my article here. Okay, so this is an article from Fox Business, September 3rd, so just a few days ago. It starts off, as Argentina's economic woes accelerate, President Mauricio Macri announced new austerity measures on Monday in an effort to stop the turmoil that has severely crushed the country's currency. Macri said in a televised statement that the administration plans to raise export taxes on grains and allocate more economic aid and strengthen food plans for Argentinians who suffer from poverty and who have been affected by skyrocketing inflation running at about 30% this year. Quote, to start building the country we want, we have to balance our accounts with a state that spends less than what it receives, he said. In recent weeks, the currency crisis in Argentina has intensified, forcing the government to ask for an early release of a credit line from the National Monetary Fund under a $50 billion backup financing arrangement approved earlier. Okay, so to summarize what the hell was just said right here. Back in May, Argentina's like, crap, guys, we need help. We're kind of going through some tough times here over in Argentina here. And they worked out a deal where the IMF was going to give them $50 billion. So that's what they're talking about there. And they need some of those funds released now because they need that. Like that's their backstop. Because their currency is literally in free fall. And now, from me traveling there, I can tell you guys firsthand experience, it really kind of is. I mean, it's not Venezuela, but it's bad. It's something that someone in the U.S. who has never left the U.S., you cannot imagine it. Okay, let me tell you guys when I was there. When I was in Argentina, well, the first day I was there, the exchange rate was, for $1 US, I got 27 pesos. Then I had to get some more money, like the next day or two. Then it was 27 and a half. Then by the time I left, I was getting 28 pesos for each dollar. Okay? Well, now, so I was just there, I don't even know when that was. That was probably 3 weeks ago. I don't know. Probably first part of August, I think is when I left. I think I left around August 10th-ish. I think that's when I left for Argentina. So here I was getting 28 pesos for $1 US. Well, now, here it is. We just started September. It is less than a month. And right now, $1 US gets you about 39 pesos. 39! I was just getting 28 3 weeks ago. That is crazy. And you want to know what's even crazier? The start of this year, you want to know how many pesos you got for $1 US? The start of 2018, you got 18 pesos for every US dollar. So it's gone from 18 pesos to 39, you guess you could say 40. So comparing the peso to the US dollar, the dollar is strengthened by 50% or the peso is weakened by 50%, whatever the way you want to look at it. I mean, the dollar has stayed relatively strong lately. And that's the thing with a lot of these emerging markets like Argentina. Argentina is probably, well, besides Venezuela, one of the hardest hit in the region. They get a lot of their money from I mean, the big export they have is farming, soybeans, so forth. Agriculture is huge in Argentina. And here these guys are dealing with 30% inflation. That's what's going on currently. And when I was in Argentina, I couldn't believe it when I heard, man, they're dealing with 45% interest rates. 45%. Well, you know what's crazy now? I was only there 3 weeks ago. And now they have 60% interest rates. And when I was there, it was 45. It's a difference of 15% just right there. And I know when I was there, they had just recently raised rates from 40% to 45% in June. I'm really glad I went to Argentina, because it very well could be the next Venezuela. It could. But I will say they do have one thing going for them, ish. The current president of Argentina is Macri. And this guy actually is kind of decent. For a politician, he's not some sort of populist, Keynesian. Well, I guess, he probably is Keynesian to a certain aspect. I guess I don't really know all of his, philosophies on everything. But when he came into office, I think it was 2015, he took over for that Christina, who completely destroyed a lot of stuff. Christina Kirchner. Well, this Macri guy, he was campaigning on anti-populist, rhetoric, and saying, hey, we got to bring this, we can't deal with this debt like it is. We need to cut government spending, which that is definitely a move in the right direction. You have to cut government spending. Venezuela, their president over there, Maduro, he's refusing to do this stuff. That's why things have gotten so much worse in Venezuela. This guy keeps doubling down on what's horrible. But this Macri guy, at least he thinks, he kind of knows what the right thing to do is. And that's okay. We're spending too much money. And he's talking about, raising, they just recently raised taxes here because he's just trying to, bring more money in. He's trying to stabilize the currency. But what's also going on here, and the reason that Argentina's facing all these dilemmas today, Argentina's a backwards country. That's certainly true. And that Christina Kirchner, she really set things up to make it what it is today. But, Macri, even though he's talking some good game here, they're still increasing the money supply about 30% a year. They're doing that. Okay, they think they can try to, pay down some debts and so forth. But here's also the problem. So as the dollar stayed strong, the peso is weakening. Argentina has debt denominated in U.S. dollars. And so they're really set up to fail. They have to stop increasing the money supply. They have to halt it. They can't do that. Once you can stop increasing the money supply, then the interest rate can find its natural level. You can keep raising interest rates, which I guess if you have 30% inflation rates and you have the interest rates, near zero and so forth. So, it's good that they think they're trying to stay ahead of inflation, but you're only looking at symptoms at that point. You have to get to the underlying problem, which is increasing the money supply. This is what Austrians are huge on. And that's why I think the Austrians, there's many reasons why the Austrian School of Economics, that view of the world, why they have such an upper hand compared to any other school, looking at the underlying problem, which really is increasing the money supply. When you increase the money supply, that distorts the economy. That distorts the allocation of resources in the economy. And so you have a lot of misallocation of resources there in Argentina. I can tell you, every time I go to a country, and I guess we all kind of do our own things and a way that you want to try to experience the culture and so forth. For me, it's renting a car. And that is actually very scary. When you rent cars in another country, that is bat crap crazy. Especially in Argentina. Actually, dang it, I meant to pull this up before I recorded this episode here, just to verify. I was hearing that Argentina has some of the most aggressive drivers in the world. They're ranked number 1. But I can't verify that. That was heard third party. So I don't know. But these guys are fairly crazy. I see some guy right before he's going to take an exit, he moves over 5 lanes and exits. Anyone who has a motorcycle, you can cut your commute time by about 20 minutes. Because these guys, in the US, you got the little dotted lines and so forth, which is meant to split one lane from another. Well, in Argentina, I think that means, oh, this is a motorcycle lane. So the motorcycles, they literally drive on the lines. And I had one guy go by me. It's like he almost clipped my mirror off. And here's traffic being backed up. And they were just getting ahead of all these cars because they just go right in between them. It really is crazy. You're driving around downtown. There's no lines on the road. I mean, just kind of like I don't know, if I were to guess, a 30-foot wide road. No lines. And so cars are like, okay, yeah, that's a 2-lane. So there's like 2 cars kind of going side by side. It really is kind of like a free-for-all. But like for me, yeah, driving a car and renting a car in these other countries, like it's an experience in and of itself. Because when I was in Australia renting a car, you're driving on the other side of the road. Dublin, same thing. London, yeah, that's crazy driving just because it's so damn busy and there's roundabouts with 5 turns. Just because there's roundabouts with 5 exits. And, if you're not in the right lane, there's like no room to move over because there's so much traffic. It's just nuts. And the lanes are all so narrow. I couldn't imagine having a pickup, or I guess a truck in London. But I don't know, for me, it's like when you say if you go to some country and say, okay, I'm just going to do this tour, that tour, so forth. You hop on your little tour buses, you look around. When you actually are driving it and it's like, crap, you're trying to figure out, okay, what exit is it? It's a different experience. It's like, okay, the best way to, if you want to try to comprehend something the best you possibly can, if you are learning something in order to try to regurgitate it to someone else, if that's your mindset, you actually retain a lot more than someone who just reads it just to read it. So I guess it's kind of like that, where you have to actively pay attention to where the hell you're at. And it really is just so much different. And as long as I don't get in a wreck, I'm happy, But Argentina, it's not like it was a beautiful city with all these skylines and so forth. I guess I don't really care for big buildings anyway. But it just seems so run down to me. It kind of reminded me of Cuba. But there's one thing, I have to go back to Argentina. I really do. I was only there probably, I think, 4 nights, 5 days. If I had more time, what I want to do is take some road trips, go up into the Andes Mountains and get some pictures. I was just kind of basically right around Buenos Aires. And it is so cheap to travel around there. It's amazing. Okay, if any of you guys out there drink, I was at this little market that was probably a block or 2 from my hotel. And I could buy a 750 milliliter Sky vodka, which I think is pretty decent vodka. I could get that 750 mil for $5.10. In Montana, that runs you about $20. So $5.10, that's just absolutely crazy. And then, I stayed at like kind of, 4-star hotels. They weren't like the classiest, but, they were decent, I guess. And they cost about, $62 a night. And right now that's traveling when I was there, when the peso was at about 28 pesos to $1. Now it's at about 40. Like, oh my gosh, it's a hell of a deal to go there now. And so I guess just to wrap up my little rant here on Argentina, I would recommend Spanish. Right now, you want to experience a different culture. You want to see a country that could possibly become the next Venezuela. It could happen. Even though this Macri guy, he is doing some of the right things, or he definitely has a decent rhetoric. But I don't know. They might go the way they were in 2001. 2001, they had a massive economic collapse. And that's when guys like Doug Casey swooped in. They got some hella deals on some land. Which I would recommend, if you go travel to Argentina, kind of get a flavor for it. And okay, I would recommend you probably should know some Spanish. I didn't know crap for Spanish. I guess I know El Baño and I know agua, but that's about it. So here I am in some restaurants trying to order food. All the restaurant menus are in freaking Spanish. And so here I am. Thank God for Google Translate. You just put something in and this guy's talking Greek to me. I'm looking over and I just start typing in the phone, just hand it to him. Okay, yeah, that's what I want. It's, I don't know, putting yourself out there like that, being in these other countries. And actually, that's part of the reason, guys, with my podcast, and I bet you guys can definitely tell the correlation here. Since I started working with United part time, I've been traveling a lot more, and before this job, I had an episode every single week. I never missed a week for 3 years. But I guess I've made a decision in my head that, I guess putting in perspective and, I guess my value scales. Yes, this podcast is important to me. I want to come to you guys and share information with you guys. But I have a passion for traveling. And I've done an interview with Doug Casey, and I've known Doug Casey for a very long time. I really got my travel bug from him. When this guy's in interviews, when he's talking about just throwing out, oh yeah, I've been in this country and that, like just when he just says things like, when you've never been like anywhere before, you're just listening to all that, you're like, oh my gosh, like, because most people who live in the U.S., like all they know is the U.S. Most people, okay, yeah, they might travel to some neighboring states. Okay, maybe some people do see all 50 states. But how many are actually leaving the country and experiencing different cultures, different countries altogether? There's not that many. So when you hear someone who's just been everywhere, I don't know. I love to learn, and just learning about different countries and cultures and just seeing all of it firsthand is absolutely incredible to me. And so that's kind of what I've done. If I have any free time, I end up traveling somewhere. And actually right now I've been to 5 of the 7 continents in just in 2018 alone. So actually I do plan on going to Africa before the end of the year. I'm thinking maybe November. I guess I have to see when I can fit it in. Maybe, no, not October. That's my my Contra cruise I'll be going on. I'm not sure when I'll do it. I think, probably November. And I'm thinking in Africa, I don't know. I might go to South Africa, which South Africa's in the news for they're seizing farmland from white farmers. So all these places that the State Department recommends you not to go, I think I'm taking some advice from Doug Casey. Well, screw it. I might just go. I guess I kind of have the feeling in the back of my head, anytime I fly out somewhere, there's always a percentage of me, it's like, okay, there's a chance I might die on this trip. But I guess maybe that's the reason why, some of these crazy rock climber guys, they climb without having a rope secured to them. They literally just do it naked, or I don't know what the term is, rock climbing. I could not imagine climbing up a face of a mountain and you have no rope. Like if you screw up, you're dead. Like that's crazy. But to them, that's their adrenaline rush. So I guess maybe from looking at my little travel experiences, maybe that's kind of what I am, just without the rock climbing. Experiencing different countries, going to ones that are kind of dangerous. Argentina, yeah, it's kind of dangerous right now. But going there, I guess I didn't really see it was that bad. Yeah, there's stray dogs and cats running around, driving around. Yeah, there's toll booths you have to deal with. Oh, quick story. So I'm going through these toll booths. You have to make sure you have pesos on you. You need them for these toll booths. They will not take credit cards, so forth. So here I am going through. All I had was a 1,000 peso bill. I handed it to the guy, and apparently he didn't have change for the 1,000 because it was going to cost like 30 pesos, I think, for the toll. And he's telling me something in Spanish. I'm looking at him like, what? I don't know what the hell you're saying, man. No comprende, which I didn't say no comprende for some reason. I think that means don't understand. So then he just says, I guess he knows a little bit of English, and he's like, free, 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 and he's motioning for me to go. So like, okay, cool. I take my 1,000 peso bill back, and I just drive on through. So you know what, Argentina, I owe them something. Actually, before I conclude here, let me hurry and get back to the article. Actually, this is a different article, ABC News, just so you guys get a feeling for the type of price increases they're seeing there in Argentina. And I'm just going to wrap this up. This is going way longer than I freaking planned on, so sorry about that. So here we are. The peso's value has dropped significantly this year. The government's budget for this year had predicted an inflation increase of 12%, but it's now estimated to be closer to 42%, according to the International Monetary Fund. Growth projections, which were estimated to be between 3 and 5%, have shrunk so dramatically as the crisis has persisted that even the most optimistic government figures predict negative growth of 2.7%. Interest rates, already at record highs, jumped last week from 45% to 60%, and the foreign debt, which had finally been reined in to under 40% of GDP, has skyrocketed up 75%. in less than 3 years. For the typical person, the economic downturn has resulted in an unemployment rate 3 times higher than the 5.9% the administration inherited. According to the Ministry of Labor, utility rates have surged as well. Electric bills are up 1,400 to 1,700%. Gas prices have risen in a similar fashion, and the cost of using water has gone up 1,000%. Utility companies are looking to raise prices too. Gas companies, for example, want to increase their rates by 90 to 200%. So there we are, ladies and gentlemen. Argentina, it's making it hard for people to survive. When I was traveling around there, there really is. There's so much poverty. And yeah, just seeing the stray cats and dogs running around, oh, it's so sad. But if you want to experience another country and you want to do it, it's a cheap trip. You're not spending all that much, hotels, food. Oh my gosh, at the one hotel in Pilar, I got a steak and fries for $8. This was an amazing steak. $8 for a steak. Oh man, I'm telling you guys, I plan on going to a lot more countries. It's improved. My perspective on things is it's always changing, and all my trips I've done, there's so many stories I have, and so many things. Like if someone's going somewhere, oh yeah, I can recommend this and this and this. There's such a huge value to it. So I'm going to try my best to try to be a little more consistent with the podcast episodes here. At least try to do one every 2 weeks for the time being until I get caught up. I know I have a returning guest. I want to get on talking about the yield curve and talk about a gold bond. There's so many guests I want to get on right now, and they've all agreed to it. I still have to get transferred over to the other software. So I'm working on all that for you guys. I want to keep you guys informed of what the hell is going on and things that the media is not talking about, like Argentina. Yeah, I talked about Venezuela before. Most people even knew about Venezuela, right? It's like the media is always so far behind in anything. They don't know what's relevant. Well, the only thing they think is relevant is Donald Trump and, colluding with the Russians and all this BS. The media is so freaking worthless. Okay, I won't even get started on that because I'm trying to conclude this episode right now. So anyway, guys, if you want to catch up on all episodes, go to justinmooreshow.com. Moore is spelled M-O-H-R. You can donate to my show directly. You can also buy your Amazon goods directly through my website. It costs you nothing extra. I get a very small commission back. So if you guys can do all that, I'm going to do my best to come back here next week, and because I already have some topics in mind that I want to discuss on the show. So hopefully I can crank one out this next week. And anyway, I thank you guys for all being here. I will hopefully talk with you all next week, and I'm looking forward to it. This is Justin Moore, signing off.